Kia ora, everybody. Friday afternoon. That means we're here. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn for Frogs on Friday, where we'll be talking about the New Zealand employment market. My name's Mark Smith. I'm Group Managing Director of Frog New Zealand and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand, I should say, and People to People in Australia. It's been an interesting week. We're what are we at now? Lockdown level 3 in Auckland. So that's level 4 with takeaways. And I actually jumped online and had a little bit of a look at Twitter this morning, and I saw this tweet from, what's her name now, Gadget Girl 42, where she said, "I'll just pop down the road to grab a coffee," and then of course she comes back with some cake, and I don't know what else that is. That lunch she's got there as well. I mean, it's not surprising. I saw this article in The Guardian as well, which said that Taste of Freedom. This was a couple of days ago. You can see Wednesday, and so there's a lineup of people trying to get to fast food joints. But I suppose the pick of the bunch, and I just love this. This is down at Papakura, and Papakura, I should say. I think is that correct? Jacob, who's the behind the scenes man, lives near here. This is the drive-through. Well, it's not Mount Wellington, okay, and I'm really confused where Jacob lives. This is the drive-through of KFC, and you see the tent on the side there. Somebody is so excited to get into KFC that they pitch a tent in the drive-through. I think that's absolutely magic. Anyway, that's not what we're here for today. We're actually here to talk about the jobs and employment market in New Zealand. So what will we do? We'll go through our regular numbers section, got some interesting payroll data there, participation rate and the like. Then we'll be crossing to Dean in Auckland, who's got a couple of jobs within marketing and digital that he wants to talk about. Then we'll be going down to Wellington to get a Wellington update from Peter Crestani, where he'll also discuss a particular role with the Ministry of Health that he wants to talk through. And finally, we'll have a look at our Twitter poll results, where last week we were asking, well, does a reference really count, whether, when you're hiring somebody? So we'll see those results as well. So let's get into it. Now, of course, we can see everybody's comments live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So if you've got any comments, then please pop them there and we'll respond to them straight away. Let's jump into the numbers, though. Here are the key facts from this data that you get. And for those, so many of you probably don't realize that for the last couple of years, the Inland Revenue have been compiling or pulling together some payday data, because there's filing that goes through to Inland Revenue since April 2019. And what that does is enables geeks like myself to get excited about how many people are getting paid, total paid jobs, which industries those jobs are in, etc. So these are the key facts of the numbers that were released just last week. And so they are till the week ending the 15th of August, you can see there. So here are the critical data. Total paid jobs up 0.5%. Primary industry jobs up 1.24%. Goods producing industries up 0.5%. Service industry jobs up 0.6%, say 0.5%. But so basically, it's the whole country is up 0.5%, except for unclassified industries where they're down 3.91%. So these are these other industries, probably off the that can't be classified. Small businesses, I would suggest, and so these guys are feeling it more in terms of the number of jobs. What does this look like graphically? Do you just want to pop up the graph there, Jacob? So this is from when they first started this data back in 2019. So the number of paid jobs in New Zealand. It's great to see that trend, hey, constantly going up, and you can see the blips there for Christmas. We survived 2020, then Christmas, and you can see the last little dip and then rise now, but we're pretty stable. It's not a negative picture in terms of the number of people in work, and that comes through in the unemployment numbers at 4%. But I also thought I'd share, because there's a lot of talk around the participation rate. So these are the percentage of the population that's actually looking for work, and you can see these are the numbers from 18, and then you can see a lot of people have dropped out of the workforce. It seems like that's, I can almost hear you saying, but Mark, that's not a big number. 71.1 is the highest back in July 2018 quarter, and it's only 69.9 is the lowest. But when we're talking the numbers of the total population in New Zealand, when you see that sort of decline, it does affect the unemployment and the employment conditions overall. So at 70.5 in this last quarter, the participation rate has improved from the depths of the COVID recession, COVID crisis or pandemic, but it's not to its peak previously. So the experience across the ditch in Australia is that there is the participation rate has dropped significantly, but is not recovering to the same extent as in New Zealand. So anyway, so they're the numbers. That's the interesting set of numbers for this week, or interesting as far as a nerd like me is concerned. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cross to Auckland, and we're going to chat about these marketing and digital jobs. To get us there, we've got a video, and this is from our sister company in Australia, from People to People, and Dylan Cohen in our Melbourne office, who's got some tips on virtual interviews. So if you wanted to roll that for us, Jacob.
Hi everyone, it's Dylan from People to People's Melbourne Temp Team. Given the ongoing lockdowns here in Melbourne, I wanted to share a few tips on how to ace your next virtual interview. Tip 1 is dress for success. This means wearing professional and corporate attire, and to treat your virtual interview as you would for any live and in-person meeting. Tip 2 is body language. It is still important in a video interview. It is important to ensure you sit up straight with good posture and try to avoid any slouching. Tip 3, which is my personal favorite, is test your tech. So this is test your video, test your audio, and test your internet prior to the interview. Ensure that you can see your face and shoulders and keep your background professional. This will give you the confidence that everything will work well and go smoothly in the interview. If you have had any accounting and finance, admin, customer service, or legal support experience, please give me a call on 03 9098 7424 so I can register you for any upcoming roles.
One day we'll be able to get across the ditch. One day we'll be able to go and have a look at or check out those particular jobs in Melbourne as well. Let's go to Dean in Auckland, where Dean is working on a couple of marketing and digital roles. G'day, Dean. How are you?
Hey, Mark. I'm really well, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I've got my COVID. I keep talking. I'm obviously obsessed with my weight, because every time I talk about this, I think about how fat I am and how bald I am. So there you go. But how's the market? How's the market?
I've put on the weight and I need a haircut. The market in Auckland.
Yeah, how's it in Auckland?
The market in Auckland, I mean, it's really on fire at the moment. I know myself on the sourcing side, I've been as busy as I was before lockdown, and I know the consultants are also really busy working with the clients. I think we have the benefit of going through this before, so the industry knows that things are going to bounce back, and once we get back into the office, they're going to have the challenge of recruiting and engaging with candidates. So momentum has really kept up this time around. So yeah, it's really positive. The market's really hot at the moment.
Yeah, you can sort of see it in the payroll data that I put up before. Hey, there's been no real dip this time around with the lockdowns. The only thing we can see is like random people putting tents up outside KFC. I mean,
yes.
That wasn't you.
That wasn't me, I swear.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's talk about these jobs. So,
Awesome.
What opportunities have you got?
So I've actually got two positions. They're with the same client. So it is within the education sector. They are fairly centrally based out at Mount Albert. The first role is a contract communications manager. So the initial contract is for around 3 to 6 months. It is an hourly rated contract, depending on experience. It sits within the events and communications team. So you would be working across the different departments and faculties and supporting them in kind of strategic marketing events. So that could be launching, a new program, or it could be a strategic partnership event, or even a graduation event. So it's the marketing and the communication and the strategy around those kind of strategic events.
Right, and you said that it depends on experience, but what sort of ballpark hourly rate?
Ballpark, yeah. So it is an hourly rated role. So they're looking around budget-wise around $40 to $50 per hour. So typically for that level, we'd be looking at somebody around 5 years experience within a similar kind of events and marketing role.
Okay, and the other position that you've got?
The next position is a permanent position. It is a product marketing advisor. So you will work across an assigned portfolio and with the academic teams. So working across those different faculties to develop marketing strategies, campaigns, and content. So you would be the bridge between the kind of the marketing team, the graphic designers, the creatives, as well as the business and the education side. So again, it's a really great opportunity for somebody that has 360 marketing experience, traditional and digital, and somebody that is really switched on and has that experience of working with senior stakeholders. So it is a permanent role. Salary-wise, they're looking around 80 to 87. So again, you're probably looking at 4 to 5 years of that 360 marketing experience. For both roles, I mean, it would be beneficial if you've had some education experience, but definitely it's that kind of the key marketing experience and working with a wide range of stakeholders.
Is there any other? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Both are really, really great opportunities. The organization has, great benefits and offer really true flexible working, particularly for the part-time role. They can fit around any other opportunities they're working in. You can pick your hours, you can pick your days. So yeah, they really value the flexibility.
That was going to be my question. So are there any other benefit? That's, I mean, sort of flexibility is ubiquitous, but it's not. My experience is that a lot of people talk about it, but when it comes to the crunch, not a lot of organizations really, they say it's flexibility to a point, really, isn't it? So it sounds like it's not an issue for this one. I can see that Jacob has done his job and popped the links to the opportunities in the comments there. But if somebody wanted to have a more detailed conversation about their experience or about this job, how would they get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. They can email me on deanh@frogrecruitment.co.nz. Otherwise, they can contact me on my mobile, which I can't remember, 027 282 5368. So they can contact me directly on there.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks, Dean. Thanks for joining us all the way from Auckland.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Yeah. Cheers.
Righto. Let's now cross down to Wellington, where we'll have a chat to Peter Crestani, the Managing Director of Capital Recruitment, about the Wellington Market. Hi there, Peter. How is Wellington?
It's really good, thanks, Mark. It's been busy. I don't know if I'd quite describe it as hot like Dean was saying in Auckland, but it's certainly really busy, and we're getting a lot more depth of roles coming in at the moment, permanent and contract roles. So the contract market in the government sector is reasonably buoyant. We've been increasing the number of contractors just recently that we've got on board, and we're looking for new people who might be looking for their next contracting opportunity at the moment, particularly in the policy space. And I think that we've still got real candidate shortages, which makes it quite difficult to find people, especially in the permanent side for us. Interesting, you're talking about the flexibility. What we're trying to refine at the moment with candidates is to quantify what that flexibility means for them. Is it working from home 2 days a week, or do they want to be able to pick their kids up after school and then work later in the evening, or whatever that is? So trying to refine that is so we can set that up right at the beginning of the whole process to ensure that the clients and the candidates are on the same page early on in the process.
Yeah, I have heard of a lot of companies instituting individual flexibility agreements where they have that discussion and they write it down about what flexibility really means for individuals as well. So I did see, it's really interesting. I also saw that Seek has put out some numbers about the number of advertisements year on year in Wellington, particularly in the government space. And it was something like 73% as compared to this time last year, more adverts for jobs in Wellington, but the number of people looking at those job ads are down like 6%. So yes. Obviously you're living those numbers.
Yeah, we're finding that advertising doesn't bring in quite the result that we would have liked. And I would say that the number of opportunities are probably understated, that there are roles, a lot of roles out there that have been to market already, they haven't found anyone and are still looking, but they haven't advertised. So I think that would be understated at the moment.
Right, okay. Well, you've got a particular opportunity in the Ministry of Health, I think, that you'd like to talk to us about.
Yeah, well, there's multiple opportunities, particularly in the contract space that we've got at the moment. So there's the reforms of the DHB. So we're looking for senior policy and principal policy contractors for there. It's a major reform. The contracts are initially for 3 months, but these reforms are going to take quite some time. They're complex. There's a lot of work to be done to manage the process and the timeframes that the government's looking for. So real meaningful, gutsy work, and it's right at the coalface as well of some major change. So we're looking for good, experienced policy people who are up for that and are interested in being involved in that kind of transitional reform going on, which this is one of a number that's happening at the moment. So anyone that's got some good senior and principal experience that's looking for another contract or moving into contract, we'd love to hear from you. So if you email us at or call us on 04978 6610, we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, yeah, I think there's the detail. Yep, Jacob, he's onto it. He's popped up the contact details onto the screen. Nice one. Yeah, okay. And so that particular role, what about the remuneration then in terms of an hourly or contracted rate? What are we looking at for that?
Well, it really depends on the level of experience, but I would be thinking for a good senior, it would be sort of $120 to $140 an hour plus GST, right, so, for the contractor. So, but it really depends. We've got some people who are really highly experienced at, if you're above that rate, still talk to us, because there could be the opportunities, because it's really meaningful and quite complex work, so it needs good hands.
Excellent. Right, okay, so if you've got experience in policy, you need to call Peter straight away. So, and if you just want to pop those contact details up again, Jacob, for us, so everybody's got those. Or if you just want to have a conversation about what's going on in Wellington, then give Peter a call and he can let you know. And if you've got experience outside of policy, I'm sure that the crew at Capital and Frog in Wellington will be able to help you out as well. Okay, well, good to see you, Peter. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. And, nice to see you, Mark.
We'll see you next time. Okay, good. All right. Let's move on. We're coming to the end, and the last couple of things that we needed to cover off is the Twitter question, the Twitter poll. So last week, we asked, do references really matter? So when hiring an employee, does their reference factor into your final decision? Interestingly, 85% say, yeah, it does play a part in some way, but still 15%, or there or thereabouts, 13.4, said no, references don't matter anymore. So it did surprise me about the number was clearly in favour of references. So 41% said yes, the reference helps me make that decision. 44% said sometimes, but not always, so there's other factors, but 13.4% said no. I thought that was interesting. Righto, so what about this week? We thought we'd go a little bit controversial with everybody jumping out there and getting, I think New Zealand now is well into the 70% in terms of first vaccinations. How about this question then? Would you return to the office and sit next to somebody who's unvaccinated? I actually overheard somebody say the other day that they wouldn't. But would you? Jump on Twitter, check it out, and vote in this week's poll, and we'll let you know what that ends up, or what the results are next week. Okay, all right, and I just want to leave you quickly. You may have seen at the bottom of the screen there that NZ Top Dog is coming to an end. The judging, I think, for the judged entries like New Zealand Top Dog, Top Office Dog, Top Dog with a Job, took place this morning, but you can still vote in People's Choice. So I can see, yep, Jacob has put the links into the comments there. Jump online, vote for your favourite. The winners will be announced, I think it's next week or the week after, but we'll keep you abreast of that as well. That's it, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again on a Friday afternoon for Frogs on Friday. We'll do it all again at 12:30 next week. Enjoy the weekend.